Hi guys, today's video is a really special one. I had the opportunity of interviewing a beautiful friend of mine, Claire Baker, who I first met in 2012 in Perth when she lived here. Now Claire resides in the wonderful city of London, and I was lucky enough to chat to her about all things periods, menstruation, her specialty which is in cyclic care. Claire Baker first started out as a women's coach, which she still is, but she has progressed into this powerhouse of looking after and nurturing and guiding women on how to look after themselves, how to understand their menstruation, and what tools they can use to start looking after themselves in a way that's nurturing and self-caring, which is really key. So without further ado, I won't speak more on the topic. You can just get started into this video, and if you have any questions, as always, I would love to hear from you. Please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it around. Everyone needs to know how to look after themselves when it comes to their periods, guys. So have an awesome week. Love you heaps. Enjoy. How did you first get into knowing that helping other women is something that you really felt a calling to do?
It's a great question. I feel like my whole life I've wanted to be a teacher. Whether it was teaching art or English or, something, I've just always wanted to help people. That's just been something that I knew I would do. And I suppose I always imagined that would be through the school system, through the education system. And then as I got older, that didn't happen, and I went on to study lots of different things, art, business, and then integrative nutrition. And it's one of those things that it really just fell into place. I was blogging about 6 years ago, just about things that were of interest to me, that I was journeying through myself and exploring about who I was and what I wanted, sort of this quarter-life crisis that I was going through. And coaching just really organically came from that. I mean, I studied to be certified as a coach, and reading my blog, got in touch, and sure, okay, let's do some coaching together. Great. And I always imagined it might be something I just do on the side as a little hobby, and help friends and family with their health and just talk to women about what was important to them. And it quite quickly became something much bigger than that. And it's just grown and grown from there. So I think it's always been in me, but I just had no idea how it would look. And it's all just flowed from that place.
Yeah. So tell me a bit about, you say, your quarter life crisis, because I can relate. I think it's really quite common.
Oh my God. I mean, I turned 25 and lost my mind. I went backpacking. I made sure I was going to be in Paris the day I turned 25 so that I could just feel like I was somewhere significant, that when I turned 25 that it would be okay because I was in Paris. And that happened, and then of course, I got back home and I was just like, what am I doing? I'm in a job I don't really like. It's fine, but I'm not super into it. What I'm doing in the world, I'm drinking myself into oblivion every weekend. I'm not in a relationship that I'm happy in. I just felt so depleted and confused, and this fear of getting older and being like, oh my God, I'm halfway now to 30 from 20. I've got to get my shit together. And it was a real catalyst for a great deal of change in my life, actually, from that 25 to 26 onwards. So much change in a really short period of time.
Wow, that is awesome. It's almost like you had your Saturn return like a couple of years early.
Yeah. I've felt that before.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So what I also find, this is what I love about the universe. It's almost like all the jigsaw puzzles kind of come into play. Your blog, This is Lifeblood, I mean, that manifested through you, within you, knowing before, I think, what you even knew that meant, because now here you are, this divine woman teaching other women cyclic care and how to look after your menstruation. I mean, does that just blow your mind?
Yeah, it's really wild. I mean, my sister and I came up with that name in 2012. We were just brainstorming ideas, and to me, This is Lifeblood was about passion and the essence of life, and this is the blood of life, and it just does not cease to amuse me now that my work is basically purely focused on the menstrual cycle. It's it's a it's great.
Goosebumps. It's just awesome. That is awesome.
It's funny. It's like we think we have agency, and sometimes we do, but generally, we're sort of being nudged along a path that is much greater than what we think it is.
Yeah, it's just wonderful. Okay, so brings me to my next question. Tell me a bit about all the juicy, brilliant work you do with menstruation and cyclic care. Am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
Cyclic.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, cyclic. I sort of use both.
Cyclical?
So, yeah, exactly. It's based around the menstrual cycle. And what I noticed when I started coaching with women back in 2013, I was personally going through my own journey of coming off the contraceptive pill and getting to know my own body in a really new way after a decade of being on the pill. I recognized that I changed so much week to week across my physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual body. Everything was so different. And as I was coaching with women, I recognized that there was also patterns within them, and it just became a part of our sessions. Like, what day are you on, and what week, and this is this phase, and this is what you might expect here, and this is what to look out for in other phases. And so it became a really important piece in the puzzle of the whole holistic approach. And I just became fascinated by the fact that I didn't really see many other people talking about this in women's health, because it's just so important. It's so important. And so really what my work has evolved to become is self-care around it's looking at self-care around the cycle. It's looking at how we can take care of ourselves according to which week of the cycle we're in. It's also really elevating menstruality consciousness. I'm just really passionate about these conversations just happening more openly, and to just integrate into the workplace, into families, education system, relationships, just more dialogue around a woman's menstrual cycle, because it can feel like such an isolating experience, menstruation. And if we suffer from any PMS, or if we're, hormonal imbalances, these sorts of things can feel really isolating. But it's really common, and we're living in a world that's just not set up for a woman's cyclic experience at all. It's a very linear masculine world, and I just want people to feel seen and heard in their experience of being someone who menstruates. So I'm really passionate about that. I'm passionate about rest and retreating at menstruation, and bringing more sustainable approach to the way that we're living, and incorporating more of the yin into this very yang lifestyle, which is really what the menstrual cycle, the framework is. It's this really lovely balance of both energies. And so the more we can get to know each phase and get to know our superpowers and our vulnerabilities in each phase, it's just like this unraveling of who we are. We get to play in all of these different energies of what it means to be a woman, and we get to live in a way that's more gentle, but also very powerful as well.
I just couldn't agree with you more. It excites me that there are people like you in this world doing such fantastic work to share this message, because in Ayurveda, thousands of years ago, women would go into a cave, like literally, like when they got their period, because it was such a time of going into the womb almost, and taking care of themselves. So now we've drawn so far away from that. We're supposed to be the mother, the work in the job, do every single job on the face of this earth now, and yet still be bleeding throughout that, and go through. So I think it's so wonderful to take that approach, and it's exciting, because how often do we really look at and question our flows and that cycle of the woman? It's really interesting.
Yeah, indeed. I think often the consciousness is that there's 1 week when we're bleeding, and then the rest of the time it's just sort of the same. And if you're on the pill, that is actually that experience. And so for me, coming off it was just like, oh God, it's not like that at all. There's actually very distinct phases that I'm moving through, and I do feel like 4 different women in a month. And often we look at that inconsistency as being a weakness or something to try to change. But actually my work, what I really believe is that it's a strength. It's a strength that we have this shifting energy. So it's the feminine, it's the shapeshifter, and actually when we have some awareness of it, gentle awareness, I mean, it's incredible what you can create from that place.
Completely. And that leads me to my next question about the pill. I too used to be on the pill years and years and years ago, I remember a girlfriend who was like, you need to get off that right away, like it's not doing you any good. And for the first time it was like, hang on, but my doctor has been recommending this to me since I was 15. Like you think that the GP would know that it's a good thing, and you go through up and you grow up in your society being taught that it's okay. And so tell me a bit about your experience with the pill and how you view it now.
So I started taking the pill when I was 16, and I took it really at that time in my life. It was just for balancing hormones. I had really severe acne, and it was really, that was the intention of going on. It was for my skin. Then, of course, as I began having sex, it became a really convenient way to not have a baby. And so I loved being on the pill. I thought it was excellent that I could orchestrate my period around my life, and I didn't have to have it for months at a time if I didn't want to, and I didn't. And actually, I thought the pill was great. And then when I was, again, going through this quarter-life crisis that I described earlier, I was looking at everything in my life, like questioning everything, and I was practicing a lot of yoga, and I was eating more organic foods and stripping chemicals from my house and taking care of my gut. And I just started to feel really strange about taking this little pill every day and manipulating my cycle. And it just started not to feel so good anymore. And so I came off it. And then I had 12 months of not bleeding at all, so post-pill amenorrhea, and that just sent me into like chaos mode. I was so afraid that I had somehow screwed my body and had, jeopardized my fertility and all of these things. Now it took a number of years for my body to really recalibrate. I could really see within myself just how long it actually took for things to settle back down, and my body to find another rhythm, find its rhythm again, and to ovulate again. For the first time in a decade, I hadn't ovulated, and I mean, it was incredible to me that my body knew what to do again, and that it remembered, and that it did come back. It took time, but it came back. And really, so what the pill is doing is it is numbing in a way. It is suppressing that natural system that we're designed to have. But I wouldn't say I'm anti-pill, because I actually do believe that it has a place at times, and that for some women it can really provide a solution to any symptoms that they're having at that time. I do believe it's a Band-Aid solution, but I believe it has a place. I just believe it's often misprescribed and overprescribed, and that women should have all of the information about the way that it works in the body, how it does suppress certain things, the recent research that's linking it to depression and anxiety, the fact that it's a class A carcinogenic. There's lots of information that we don't get when we start to take it. So it's a trade-off, right? You get to take the pill and you get certain benefits from that, sure, but it also does take a lot from us as well. And it certainly means that we're not having that full cyclic experience that I was talking about earlier, and really tapping into the superpowers of the cycle. Being on the pill means that you're not really having that experience.
Yeah, definitely. So what would be a couple of takeaways for our viewers today that you could impart on how we could start to look after ourselves, or even just what ways could we become aware of our periods and the cycle?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it all starts with awareness always, and menstrual cycle awareness, I think, will change the world. Women being conscious of where they are at in their cycle, because at any one point, you're somewhere in the cycle. So it's really just a matter of starting to track or chart, and there's so many different ways to begin to do that. There's loads of apps now, which is really cool. I really like Clue, but there's plenty of others online that you can download and just start to track where you are. So day 1 is that first full day of bleeding, like full flow, that's day 1. And then just start to track and to get to know how you feel on different days and begin to see patterns within yourself and getting to know each phase of your cycle. For those who prefer a pen to paper approach, I've got a cycle calendar that's free on my website that can also be used to track the lunar cycle as well. So you can begin to see how your cycle might line up with the lunar phases, which is really cool. Another practice that I really love is just simply journaling and writing down the day of your cycle next to the date. So if you have a current journaling practice, that can be a good way to start to see, do you have different moods on certain days of your cycle? Are there different tendencies or cravings or, ideas or dreams, just beginning to chart your cycle day. And it's just an integration then. I put my cycle days in my schedule so I can see ahead if I'm planning an interview like this, or if I'm planning a workshop or client calls, or even just socially, where will I be in the cycle? Will I be bleeding or will I be ovulating? Like, what's going to be the best way that I can just start to sync my life where possible with my cycle? So it's just these little gentle awareness and gentle integrations.
That's awesome. So what advice would be for women who, because I just love watching your Instagram stories and your full cycle. Your little video stories, which have been just inspirational, and I love them. And anybody, I will put the link below for Claire's Instagram and also for the links to your PDF that you can download too, because this stuff's just mint. But for in the back of my head, I'm because as a young mother, I'm like, but I don't have the time, and how do you do it? I mean, how do you look after yourself when you have to juggle so many hats? And what would you say to somebody who's maybe saying the same thing, like, I would love to, not have to go out today, but I've got to bring home the money.
Of course. Oh, and again, the world is not yet set up for this way of living, and so I really hear that. And so what I always recommend is taking the 1% shift in the direction of where you'd really love to be. So, dream into the vision. How would you really love to spend menstruation? What would you love to do if you're feeling, a bit tired at the end of your cycle? What would that look like? Or how would you love to spend ovulation as you get to know your own tendencies in those phases? What would it look like? And then what's the 1% little shift that you can make in that direction? So if, say, for example, at menstruation, what you'd really love is to have a day to yourself, to just lie on the couch and, and eat delicious chocolate and drink tea and just nap and read, then maybe the 1% of that is that you give yourself 10 minutes in the morning or in an evening, and you call in some support from your partner or friends. Create that space and then give it 10 minutes of that, and just a little taste of that. Because what I've found within myself and certainly with clients is when we do that, it is cumulative and it does start to build upon the next. And even just setting that intention and taking that time is really powerful. But it also means that you do the next 1% is generally a little bit more and more again, and even just what can grow from that is really cool as well. But I get it, it's not possible to run away, like you said, to the cave and just be in a cave when we're bleeding.
Right.
But I've just found again and again that when I say, if I'm moving house, it's happened to me 3 times. I've moved house when I've been bleeding, or I've had a big work thing on. I've been teaching a workshop and my period started. It happens. Those moments when I really have to push through, I just find my energy is nowhere near as, doesn't reach its full capacity, that it could for the rest of my cycle. So I just know the more I can take, even just 10 minutes, an hour, to just take some time for myself and rest and surrender, my body system has then, got the space that it needs to actually do what it needs to do at that time, which is replenish reserves and to press the reset button and to then set myself up for, a more energetic and powerful cycle ahead.
That is just spot on. In Ayurveda, we do that as well. We don't massage or get massaged when you're bleeding, and when you're detoxing, definitely do not detox while you're menstruating. So it's beautiful. It's the cherishing of your
Yeah.
cycle. That's just wonderful.
Yeah.
I love it. And doing
Cool.
that 1%, that really sticks with you. So I'm going to take that. Take that.
There's always a little 1%.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You mean I don't have kids, so I am fascinated, and I want to hear more stories of how mums do it, because it's not easy.
Well, I know, it's amazing. Women are amazing. They're just amazing.
Women are amazing.
So yeah, I'm very excited because there's news that you're coming to Australia this year.
Yes.
And you'll be doing some workshops. Can you tell us about what workshops and where you'll be and when, so we can come and see you?
Absolutely. So I will be in Perth. We'll be doing probably a 4-day workshop in Perth.
Beautiful.
In June at some stage. Dates to be confirmed soon. And I'm actually running a retreat in Daylesford in Victoria. So it's a 3-night weekend retreat in Daylesford, and it's called Cycle Love, and it's just going to be like a really in-depth deep dive into everything that we've been talking about today, like cyclic self-care, what it means to have a cycle as a woman in the world today, and just really like deep self-loving through cycle awareness.
Beautiful. And I'll make sure I put all that information where people can find it, how to do it, and things like that. Yeah, awesome. Well, I think that wraps it up for today. I'm just so happy to have you, and thank you so much for sharing your words of wisdom on women's health, and I cannot wait to see you when you come to Perth.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you either. Thank you so much for having me, Annie. It's been really fun.
Thank you.